The haunting hour is at hand. Ghostly hauntings as time began. Raw side paranormal seeks the truth, looking for some kind of real proof. Creepy floorboards and eerie dark mist. Grab your camera and document this. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the wrong side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadow hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. The icy air touches your neck. You feel like screaming, but you stay in check. Orbs rising up to take the magical flight. You can't believe what's happening tonight. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side.
Hello, hello. Happy Saturday, all you beautiful people. Welcome to the Raw Side. I'm glad you guys could join us tonight. Let's see who's popped in to hang out with me and Jimmie. There's Dragon. Hi, Dragon. Hi, Nick. Al. Foxfire. Waterhorse. There's Miss Carla. The lovely Miss Carla. Who else is here? Hey, Phil. How's it going? Did I miss anybody? Let me scroll. Let's see. I know there's more. Laynath, welcome. Let's see who else. How's everybody doing? Hey, Michael, how's it going? Eddie Lee. I hope I caught everybody. Caught everybody so far. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody is doing great. Hey, Matt, how's it going? Are you being careful out there? Mr. Matt, out there in the field, you be careful. Hey, Special Ed, how's it going? I hope everybody's doing great. Let me just, plug. You guys, if you're willing to help a girl out and donate to my channel, it's pinned at the top. Just click on that link and, just do what you got to do. I appreciate it greatly if you guys do that. Hi, Tammy, how's it going? Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to me and also to Jimmie. I'm getting a message. He was running a little late, guys, so hold on. Let me see. Oh, he's almost here. Making me laugh already. Let's see. Nan says, I actually came home for today, going back tomorrow. Oh, so you get a quick break. Yeah, be careful out there. They can be scary. Even if it's just, training, maneuvers and stuff like that, it's just scary. And always, as always, Matt, thank you for your service. We all really appreciate it. And hopefully Helena's doing well. I haven't spoken to her a while. So hopefully she's doing well. Hi, Alyssa. Welcome. Jimmie is on his way. He's hurrying. What's still saying? Matt, Cat Daddy, Cat with that dark elements. So, yeah. So does everybody have a great Saturday? I am totally wrecked today. I pulled down all of my Christmas stuff from the attic, and I spent the whole day putting stuff up. It's not even nowhere finished, but I think I might come back this year because I'm just too. Did I say hi, Dragon? I hope I did. Hopefully, I didn't miss anybody. My voice is almost 100%, so oh, thank God. Let's see here. Let's see. What else? I was wondering, Matt. Saw you did some editing early this morning. Yeah, yeah. So see, he's home and he's right there on the editing warhorse there. Talk about dedication. Also, just to let you guys know that Carla and I are doing a chit chat tomorrow. Hopefully, you guys can come and hang out and talk about. It's open mic, talk about anything and everything. So yeah, let's see. Can't wait for the other two parts from Helena. So she's working on the two parts. You're working on one part. Hopefully, it'll get to the point where you guys are together all the time. I know when it's your part from somebody that you know you love, it stinks. It makes it really hard. Dragon, yes, she did. I'm trying to keep up with the chat myself. Oh, okay. Yep, it flies by. Um, oh, thank you, Carla. Thank you. I try to be patient. Believe me, I used to be a lot more patient than I am now. I don't know if people can believe that, but you know, the older you get, the patience gets thin on a lot of things. Um, so yeah, Poet new video premiere is already up ready for tonight. Oh, nice, nice. Well, I'll have to check that out, Nick. We enjoyed having you on the show, learning about what you do. Kathy Lee, Laura, do you have? I have Discord. I just haven't figured out how it works yet. Excuse me. I'm still, muddling through all of that stuff. Just like somebody asked me on Instagram. Yeah, I have that, and I just, I never. I have so much going on here, at the homestead that I try to sneak in what I can, the best I can. And then with the magazine takes the full month to put together and collect everybody's stuff to get it in and ready and out by the first of every month. Uh, don't forget, guys, I've got two posts about the paranormal beard contest. Go and vote for your favorite so that we can get a winner for the January magazine. Let's see. Yeah, I believe that, man. The Marine Corps is speeding up the aging process. That ain't no joke. You go in young, strong men, and you come out gray and tired. It's I've got a lot of friends that are Marines, and it's they're still tough, but yeah, it takes out a lot out of you. Uh, Carla, Laura, did you get some of your Christmas stuff up? Yes, I did. I haven't taken the pictures yet. Um, I'm getting to it, Carla. It's taken me forever. Taking me forever. I'm actually going to be cutting back this year because it's too much. I'm just so worn out, and I'm still not 100% from the pneumonia, but I'm feeling a lot better, a lot. Carlo, what kind of submissions are you looking for January's issue? Anything, guys. Any stories, poems, recipes, family traditions for a New Year's Eve, cocktail recipes, any haunted stories or locations that anybody has visited during, uh, New Year's Eve. Of course, I don't know how many people would do investigations on New Year's, but you never know. Never know. But anything and everything, I take it. Artwork. I don't have the ability to put anybody's music on there. I wish I could, but that's the one thing I can't do. Oh, Matt, yeah, you're back in your knees. Yep, rough, very rough. So, oh, good, Nick. I hope you do submit. Yeah, a poem. Any poems, stories, personal stories. If you don't want me to use your name, you just when you send it, put on there. I'll put you down as a Jane Doe, or just I'll give you a different name. No worries, because I know a lot of things are very personal. Um, so you know, it's up to you guys. I take it all and I put it in there and we get it out so everybody can read it and enjoy it. Um, where do you submit? Oh, to my raw side email, Nick. So it'd be raw paranormal 8 at gmail.com. And I'd like you guys to put your hands together to welcome the man of the hour, our wonderful.
Hey there.
You
How are
didn't
you?
count of me, did you?
I'm sorry.
I said you didn't hurry up
No, I'm good. I left with just barely enough time.
just enough time. As we just started, and we're sitting here shooting this shit. Stay tuned. So, man, it's going to be the centerfold. We put up names, and everybody picks their favorite, and the winner becomes the centerfold.
I see.
You never know; it might be Jimmie. Who knows? We don't let anybody know until it's all published and ready to roll. So, how are you doing today, Jimmie?
I'm good. I'm good. I've been having a pretty decent last couple of days. How about yourself?
I'm still on the mend, but I sound a
Mm,
little bit more normal than usual.
Yeah.
Lately, it's
Yeah.
rough. The voice has been shot
Mm,
because I have been trying to talk a lot, and singing is totally out because I don't want to do any damage. I'm still recovering from
you
I had laryngitis,
right.
so and it's killing me because
Yeah.
see, the weekends I do a lot of singing and so yeah.
Hello to everybody in the chat. Hello, hello. Says I'm a bit echoey. I do hear that too if I speak louder. But if I'm good and quiet next to the microphone, I don't hear it so much.
He does the radio voice. It's soothing.
Mhm.
Maybe we might do an article on that, guys. The radio voice of the month. And we,
Yeah. There's a few of them out there.
yeah, there is. Someone got some really good ones. Okay, Jimmy, we all know what you've been up to.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we've been watching all the way
Mhm.
around. But I had to get you on to talk about your docuseries about Ghost of Carmel Maine. I don't know about anybody else, but the last one you just put out, it brought me to tears. And I wanted to get you on here. Hi, Diane, welcome. And just talk to you about. Um, we were watching you do the editing, but
Mm.
what is the story that is in your head when you're doing the editing and putting these things together?
Well, it's sort of you mean from the beginning until the end?
Right, right. Did you have this whole story laid out from step one?
In ways. When I originally went there, I was, like I said, I went there looking for, proof of the afterlife. That's what I went there. Um, I didn't know exactly what to expect. I thought it was going to go one way. I figured because I thought the guy was what he seemed to be.
Right.
So I wanted to interview his family and kind of put across this idea of this all-American blue collar type of person. That's what I thought was what I was dealing with. And then I guess just I go home and I didn't know anything about David. It all just kind of happened. So I didn't really. Once I realized that it wasn't going to be what I initially thought, which seldomly do projects ever turn out the way you expect them to.
Right.
Once I
Say it better,
realized,
Phil.
I'm sorry.
No, I was talking because Phil said I sounded low. I was just wondering if it was better.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you do sound better. I can hear you better.
Okay, thank you.
So it once I realized what the story was about, I knew what the last shot was going to look like. I had that image in my head of me closing the laptop and that being the end of it. I knew that was the last, that was going to be my final scene. I knew that. So pieces of things, but how I was going to get there, I didn't know. And then I knew what the story was going to be, and I knew it was going to be a message to the fakers. But I didn't know how that was going to be conveyed. And it wasn't until I found all of you guys, at this whole community, that it started to make sense. Okay, I could say it. I've been doing all the talking this whole time.
Right.
I could say it isn't going to matter. And so I felt like if I had everybody else say it for me. And the thing was, that last stretch, the I call it the investigators versus debunkers sequence, that thing at the end. I asked everybody the same questions. I asked every single person the same questions. I already knew that chances were their answers were probably going to line up somewhere, because I've been paying attention and listening to what everybody's about, in their own videos. And so and I'm seeing like the division between paranormal and debunkers, it shouldn't exist. But not only that, the addressing the idea of fake and educating and all of that, this message was meant to happen the way it happened, I think. So again, it's one of those things where I knew how it was going to be a message to the fakers. I knew how the last shot was going to look, but I didn't know exactly how it was going to be presented.
Right.
Long-winded answer, but
No. That's what I'm looking for. Because we sat and we watched you. I mean, most of us did anyway. Watched you do the editing process, which was fantastic because a lot of us pretty much suck at editing. So I think it's great when you guys do get on and show what you're doing, what you have to go through, because people have no clue. They think, oh, just film it and stick it on there. That would be me. It's raw. You're gonna get it as I film it, and that's it. Maybe someday, if I ever jump into the editing gig, then I'll make it, pretty. But people don't understand what you guys all go through. Like, you, Joe, Matt, Jeff, all, even Carla. It's amazing. The time and the effort that you put into it. And I was just wondering, what gives you the drive to do what you're doing?
Well, it's sort of a snowball effect. At the beginning, it's like this is something that's just, the muse hit me. It was like a perfect storm of events of things, and then I guess for me, it's something I've always wanted to make. I always wanted to do a paranormal type of show or do something like that. Go on go hunting ghosts or whatever. I always wanted to do that. I guess it's just the way that this, and it's going to sound kind of cheesy or whatever, but like I said, the muse hits you a certain way, and then you just kind of just start making the motions. You just start doing things, and then the story starts telling you, and then you want to see it. You want to see how it ends, and I mean,
right.
Because where is this going to go? You have ideas, but building it as it's going on, it just, I guess that feeds the passion, or feeds that fire of making it, as best as you can.
Right.
A lot of people have told me that they think that last episode was the best one. And I think I agree, because it meant to me that last episode was really where the message was. You sat through 3 episodes of all this confusion. What the hell's going on? What's happening? What is it? And then why is this guy doing this and all this? And then the last episode had to kind of wrap up all those things and package it nicely. So I wish I would have spent a little bit more time, because there are a few little details of things that I'm like, let's see a few things. But overall, it's like the message is there and people are getting something out of it. It seems that it is making an impact or making an impression on people. Because I've had nothing but nice comments from everybody.
Yeah, it definitely made an impression. Jeff wants to know, have you gotten any slap back from the guy?
Nothing since that initial response video he did back in January of 2024. I haven't heard from him. I was going to one last time reach out to him and see if he would sit down with me, but he had blocked me, which he had to have done that in the last few months, probably while watching because I know he was watching me editing. I
Right.
learned that he was one of the people that was lurking around from time to time, because he attacked David. He attacked David verbally.
Um,
Kent works at that gas station next door to his house, and David went in there to buy I don't remember what, but he went in there to buy something, and Kent was, I can't believe you have the balls to come in here, and they had a little back and forth, and David had a few choice, colorful phrases to call him, and Kent barked at him that he wasn't allowed to come back to the store. He said that he had brought his family into it, which this is the thing. It seems like Kent completely blames David, as if David hired some random guy from Indiana to come out and do this documentary on him. It's like they hold David responsible. It's really weird. David isn't the one. When I listen to him talk about it, those of you who were involved with the documentary, it's like, quite honestly, the only people that are involved as far as it being put together is me. I'm the one telling the story. There is no they or them. Luke did what he did. He came out, he helped me film it. He went back home. He didn't do any of the others, any of the editing or anything like that. He didn't encourage me to go talk to David. It's just weird that rather than, I guess it's not weird. It makes sense that rather than just accept the responsibility of being a dick and screwing around with people's lives, he wants to shift the focus on it's everybody else's fault.
right. That's what I got from it too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not taking ownership of any kind of statement he made or
right.
Yeah, that was. But, I agree. Kathy says, and also Alyssa's saying the same thing, that us being a part of the editing lives, even though we were just viewers, it made it all special to us. Like I said, I've never had anything that was, I was, because you've seen, I've watched documentaries all the time, but I've never seen the exact process. So really, it's not a personal thing, and I think we all became part of your personal journey.
Yeah.
During this, and I think it's why a lot of us were brought to tears. Do you feel like that you have left a piece of yourself in this creation?
Yeah. But not enough that I can't bring back. It's just, like it's definitely something that I'm proud of. It's definitely.
You should be.
It says what I wanted it to say.
Right.
Of course, you have to be invested in it to watch it from the beginning. It's about 5 hours long altogether. But yeah, I do feel like there's a piece of me that's left in that, as it should be. It was weird. Like when I uploaded it, I'm like, it's done. I'm finished. And it felt weird because I've had this over me for the past almost 5 years. In January it'd be 5 years, so it took me almost that long to get it right. But again, I think it all happened the way it was meant to happen. I was meant to stumble into this community when I did. When I started it, like I said, I was looking for something paranormal, but that's the thing. At the end of the version that's on YouTube, there's a scene where I say, if it was something that he was faking, I was prepared to have an opinion on that. We filmed that, at the end of night 2. Luke and I would go back to the hotel and we would film our thoughts for the day. And that's what I was talking about then. So I had it in my head then that if he was bullshit, I was going to expose it, but I really wanted it to be real. I really, really, really wanted it to be real.
Right. Well, you know what? But even though with everything you found out, the whole process was real for you. So it's not like, do you feel disappointed in any way?
No.
Good.
I mean, I guess, well, okay. I'm disappointed that my evidence had to be sacrificed. I'm disappointed that I found out he was a liar. I didn't want that. But as far as being able to show everybody what happened, exactly how it happened. No, I'm pretty satisfied with that.
So it's great. I mean, you're satisfied actually as a whole with the finished product.
Say again, I'm sorry.
I said, are you satisfied as a whole
Mhm.
with the finished product?
Yeah,
I mean, we've seen how you painstakingly went over every section, over and over, and so we just wanted to, I don't think you could critique it any better than you already did.
Thank you. Yeah, because you have to do that, and that's the thing, right? Like, it helped having these different sequences that I went about building these last two episodes completely different than the first two, whereas I built sequences to tell the stories that I wanted to tell, and then made segues, with the interview segments or the black and white narration in between to make it flow. Whereas before, I was really doing, okay, what's next, and work on it that way rather than sequences and then putting it all together,
Right.
But it helped me a lot, and it helped with being able to tie, because the last two episodes at one point were one long episode. So there were things that are referenced in episode 2, or I'm sorry, in episode 3 that don't happen until episode 4.
Right.
And it was nice to leave people wondering, like, well, wait a minute, who was that guy at the beginning, and what was he talking about a smear campaign and all this. Those seeds are being planted, and you go through the rest of the episode, and then you start. To me, I think it becomes obvious, in episode 3, how the guy likes to spin stories, and one thing that, because I talk with Matt a lot about filmmaking and stuff, and one of his critiques on it was like, I think you hang on certain things for a little too long. It drags out. And like, I was watching episode 2 and I was like, I get what you mean. But then Kent says, I just heard a voice. And I was like, oh, that's right. That's why I did that, because I wanted to catch him on camera doing that as often as possible. Like, I mean, or presenting it. I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but at any time that he said it, and believe me, there are plenty of times that didn't make it to the final cut. But when you go back after watching episode 4, you start to see things that you didn't see before, because now that he is, I guess, what's the word? Baiting me along.
Right.
Anyway,
Right. Jeff wants to know, is there any thoughts on what your next project will be?
So I guess I'm just going to answer that as an in general thing. Because right now I don't know about what, as far as a paranormal expedition would be. But I'm thinking I'm going to move to a music project for a bit. And I'll probably do editing lives, but it will be on my Drum Blanket channel. It will be on the video game channel, because I can do whatever I want to over there and not risk losing my audience, because I still want to do paranormal stuff. But while I was creating this, especially during the last year, I've been hearing songs that I want to cover and make like my own version of these songs, like "Take on Me" by Aha, and
It's
maybe
funny, that
Kevin.
song popped into my head before you said it.
Really,
It was
yeah,
really weird.
yeah,
Okay.
that's one of them, and possibly a Kevin Gates song. He's this like gangster rap guy, and he has a song that I think is really beautiful. And but if I do it, I'm going to be putting my own kind of flavor to it. But
Right.
I do have some ideas as far as documentaries go. Like, there's a guy that used to be a drummer in this band that I really love, and he lives in Kentucky, and that's not that far away. So I was thinking about maybe doing like a 20, if he'll let me do like a 20-minute, 25-minute long documentary on him. Just go spend, a matter of 8 or 10 hours with him and talk with him about stuff and hang out with him while he does what he does. Because now he's just a painter. He paints houses.
Right.
But the band he was in, like, yeah,
Excuse me.
There's some things I'm thinking about doing, but I think I'll just let I'll let the muse let me know or tell me.
Lead you to where you got to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tammy wants to know one request. Is there a way to rename the parts of the documentary so that the part number is in the title? I started with 4 and I had to go back to find the others.
Sure, there is. But I'm not going to do that. I set up a playlist so that it's in order.
I'm going to say, yeah, I thought they had numbers.
They did, but I changed the titles to make them more clickable.
Okay.
I changed them to make them more clickable. I mean, I could possibly put like 1, 2, 3, or 4 at the end of it. I'm not against doing that. But I made sure to put it in the description. And that's the first thing it says is this is part 1 of the series or whatever. But yeah, I mean, and when as far as like the titles of them themselves, they are what I put in the title opener. You know, it's the Ghost of Carmel Maine, the documentary on Truth, Life, and everything in between. Part 1, which is Kent Burris in the Lamb House, and then the opposition, and then Truth and Lies, and then everything in between. I do think those are really good titles for what they are, but they're not as clickable. You know, they're not like they're not. And I want people to see this. You know, I want people
definitely.
To see it. So when you have sensationalized tags or titles like this, you know, you're evoking an emotional response, and they want to click on it, and that's what I want to do. You know, but I understand that kind of frustration where somebody who wasn't around and didn't know and you know, but I also put it in the thumbnail too. It says in the thumbnail before you even click on it, you know, the name of or the title, the number of the episode. So it is able to.
And it's out there because I thought I saw. Yeah, I thought I saw that.
Yeah.
Carla says, "How difficult was it to get Kent to invite you over in the beginning?"
It wasn't. It wasn't. I reached out to him, and actually, I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna. There's the video where he made his response video and all that about, and I was, you know, the stuff that I showed you in episode 4. He made a response video about me, and I made a reaction to that. I think I'm going to take it away because I had it as private, but I think I'll make it public again, so that people can see. And in that, our very first conversations are right there. You know, I reached out to him via voice because I was driving at the time, and you know, I told him who I was and what I was wanting to do. You know, I have this other channel. You know, if you wanted to go see what it's about, go over there and look. But you know, I'm interested in making a documentary about you and your house. And he was like, okay. Yeah, it was really
easy.
He was ready because at the time he had an open door policy. If you wanted to come out there, he'd let you come out there. That's changed. That's changed.
See what you did?
Yeah.
Wayne wants to know, while doing the investigation at Carmel, Maine, were you disappointed in what you discovered? Did it destroy your beliefs?
Belief is a strong word. I think it made me question it a bit, you know, like, but then once I heard those EVPs, it was like, okay, like I still think those EVPs are pretty remarkable, regardless of what Kenny says. You know, some of them, it's like, okay, I can't argue. That sounds exactly like what he created, you know, and I'm willing to bet that, you know, I've made some mistakes, but there are a few that I do not understand how they could be there. So no, I think it made me more curious, but it also almost gave me like a new purpose. Sort of like I'm like this vigilante, right? And I didn't think about it this way, but it is sort of like vigilante justice, right? Like,
Right.
I go there and once I start realizing what's going on, I take matters into my own hands, you know. So there is kind of like this vigilante justice paranormal thing that's kind of happened to me now. So and that's one of the reasons why it's like, well, I don't know what the next thing to be is, because I really want to go after Paranormal Nightmare. I really do. But I don't think it'll ever be able to. Like, at first I thought I was going to go after Cody and Satori, but they got huge, and I didn't even know who Satori was when I first learned about,
Right.
So
That's been done to death.
Yeah. That was another thing. It's like, okay, well, everybody's been doing that, and nobody needs me to go there in person to tell them. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of obvious. But Paranormal Nightmare is one of those that I love those guys. I thought those guys were really cool dudes. I love their story. I love their background story. And then, everything's a demon, and now he's exploiting his own daughter on one of his last episodes. I took my 13-year-old daughter ghost hunting. Don't ever do this. That's the title. And
oh, gee, I didn't even see that. Yeah.
No shame.
Al wants to know, what movies have you made, Jimmie? I'm a newbie.
Well, not including all my OnlyFans movies. Just I've not really made a movie.
No.
No, I've made a couple of machinimas and stuff like that, which is video game. I made shows out of video games, and I mean, like, actual camera angles and stuff like that, and took time into it and made a story out of a video game that there wasn't a story about in the video game at all. I've done stuff like that. And I've done like history of videos where I would talk about history of specific titles of video games and stuff. That's where I learned a lot of research and how to do a lot of that stuff.
Right.
But this is my first project really, I've done music videos and that kind of thing. But this is the first thing that I've ever done that like this,
Right. Well, you did a fantastic job. That's just no joke there. Carla wants to know, Jimmie, didn't you mention exploring the Saley house or the Monroe house sometime?
Yeah, so I was going to do the Monroe house thing, but the more that I thought about it, the more, Matt Benton is doing his, and with Joe Vitale, they're doing one on the Monroe house. And really, again, I'd rather be doing something that not everybody else, or not that everybody else is doing the Monroe house, but I don't want to be working on a project that a friend of mine is working on a similar project or the same basic project. So I've kind of dropped the idea of doing the Monroe house. That's not to say I won't ever go out there maybe sometime and do some sort of investigation, but as far as making, a coherent, hour and a half or 2 hour long documentary or even another series, I just don't think that it would, I think I could do better somewhere else.
Well, yeah, just like I said, because a lot of these places have been done to death. So you've got to find whatever you're drawn to. I think if you just randomly go pick something, I don't think you'll get the same result that you're looking for. Like when you come across this particular spot.
Yeah,
I believe you were drawn to it, and that's why it come out as well as it did. Al wants to know, where can we view the other stuff, on Amazon or Netflix?
Well, the other stuff is on my other channel, which is if you just look Drum Blanket up, which I can just type that down for you. And well, Candy might be able to have a link too, possibly. But this is the name of my other channel. Let's put that in the chat. And if you look that up, you'll find me. And there's over 1,000 videos to sort through. There might be something in there. Chances are there might be something in there that you might like. But as far as this stuff goes, the documentary, my goal is to get it onto Amazon Prime at least.
Right.
And I have to have a distributor in order to do that. So that's the next steps, is because there are 2 distributors that showed interest. in it. One's Gravitas Ventures, and then the other is Buffalo 8. And if they will sign a deal with me, then it'll be on all of the streaming services except for maybe Netflix. You know.
Right. So yeah, and Candy's really good at getting that stuff out there. She'll get it out so you can.
She did take Candy.
Okay, Friday has a comment in here, but I don't know if I'm sure you're pertaining to what Jimmie was talking about, his EVPs. He says EVP is real, proving that is not so easy.
Right. Yeah. Kenny was saying things like, well, one thing he said was, if because he was talking about the voice that Luke heard, he was like, if he heard a voice, it probably came from outside, and it was muffled through the wall, and the first thing you should do is, if you think you heard a voice, you should go outside and see if there's anything out there. Okay, that's not wrong. That's not wrong, but it was like 10 and 12 degrees below zero. No one's out and about. Now, there's a gas station right next door. People are going in, people are going out. If someone is speaking loud enough because Kent lives close to it, but I mean, in order to hear that voice, they'd have to be speaking at like their top level of speaking voice. And then for that voice to sound like a whisper does not make sense. You know what I mean? If someone's yelling, it's going to sound like someone's fucking yelling. It's not going to sound like a whisper in the room.
Right.
So again, that's one of those things where, like, I didn't argue with Kenny because the point of it wasn't to argue with him about, oh no, I'm convinced this is this or this is that. I did it because I was showing that I was willing to accept the fact that these things could have logical explanations, that you should be debunking your own stuff, if you can. And then what you're left with that you can't really understand, then you leave it up to the viewer. I mean, the whole thing can be left up to the viewer, honestly, but that shadow, I don't really know what that was. And those EVPs, it was really weird that in phonetic mode, the Ovilus was saying help. In phonetic mode, it's like, it's just sounds, it's phonetics, you know what I mean?
Right.
So for it to be saying help like it was like, that's really interesting, because in that mode, it's not using words from its memory bank. It's just making sounds. So it's like, that's really weird. Now it could just be a coincidence of events, but
there's the question. Yeah, that's Alyssa says, do you feel the emotional aspect will always be there even though you finished Carmel, Maine?
Oh yeah, my heart, there's a part of my heart that's in Carmel. Yeah, I mean, I have made lifelong friends with David Sear and Benjamin Elliott. We are going to be friends for the rest of our lives, so I will go back to Maine to visit those guys. It's definitely something that I've not had that before with the project, So yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, well, you could see it. Like I said, when it, something like that brings somebody to tears, or a group of people to tears, that you've put everything into it. It wasn't just a technical job. You were putting that emotion and all of it into the project, and the outcome was phenomenal. Jeff says, I can't talk about it yet, but I have a new form of hate for Paranormal Nightmare.
Yes. Let us unite, Jeff. Jeff and Jimmie, the Paranormal Nightmare haters.
Matt says fame got to them. Is that what's going on? I'm missing something. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I've only seen a few other things, but it's.
My heart is in the caramel candy. I do love caramel candy. A good caramel is not much better.
Oh, Friday says OnlyFans must be where the name Drum Blanket came from.
No. Drum Blanket was so I don't like having email addresses that it's like Mr. T 3456623. I don't like that kind of thing. So I always try to find names that no one else is, that are going to be really rare. and
Right.
I was in a band called Buzz Blanket, and I was the drummer. So I just made drum blanket at
There
yahoo.com,
you
and
go.
I've had that email for over 20 years now.
It's a good one. Phil says he's heard that you're huge in Japan.
Hmm, that's cool.
All
I
right.
don't know if it's true, but
Let's see. Matt says you can do it if you want to, man. If you have another unique idea, it's all up to you.
oh, he's talking about the Monroe thing. I don't really think I have another unique idea. You know what I mean? Like, because I mean, unless I go in there and figure out that everybody that's talking about all this is all full of shit, which could happen, I guess. I mean, it could happen, but
Right.
I don't know.
Friday says, well, you could do a documentary on high profile locations versus random no name places. What's more haunted? Uh, well, that's what I've been saying to a lot of people that I have on. I want to see everybody's seen all of the famous, high profile places. I would like to start seeing places that nobody's heard of and nobody's seen.
Yeah, I know
Bring
what
new
you mean.
stories into the field and new places. How many times can you keep doing the same place over and over?
Right.
I mean, it's you start to lose interest after that. You want new stuff out there. Friday says, when did you get starting doing editing?
Pretty much right when I came home. However, so what I did when I came home was I chronologically ordered or put in chronological order all of the camera footage and the task cam, which is the audio, like the audio recorder, the room recorder. I put together all of that, and then I worked on Kent's interview, cutting my questions out and just letting him answer. And then I sat there for months and months and months going, what am I going to do with this? What am I going to do? I've never done this before. So it's like, what I didn't know really what to do, and then I was like, well, that's when I was like, maybe I should talk to that David Sear guy, that guy from Ghost of Carmel, Maine. Maybe I should talk to him. And so that's really, once I did that really helped the pitch shift of the whole project, because and because there are two interviews I did with David. One where he has the headphones on, and he's got the black hoodie on, and that was our very first conversation. Hadn't talked to him before other than, hey, I'm Jimmie Mitchell. I'm doing this documentary on this thing, and I know that you were a part of it. Would you like to sit down with me? Yeah, sure. We set up a date, and then that was our very first conversation is on film there. And yeah, so I this was back in January of 2020 is when I would have started putting all that stuff together, and then I think it was spring, maybe summer time when I reached out to. Well, it was still cold outside. You can tell he was bundled up. So it might have been that fall or whatever, because I know I spent a lot of time just going, what the hell am I going to do with this? What am I going to do? This isn't. I didn't know that there was anything in there. At first, like I thought it was a bust. I had no idea what was going to happen, and then I sat down and I started cleaning up the audio, and I started hearing these voices, and that's when it was like, oh, well, that's really weird. And I show those voices to David, and that, like I said, there were things that were happening. It wasn't just like a bam, 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 get it done. It just kind of, it crawled. It was definitely a creeping gallop.
And actually, I think that was a benefit to your finished product.
Yeah.
Carla wants to know, have you thought of putting your music on Spotify?
The Never Found stuff was on Spotify. I do have an account with DistroKid, because I used to have I still have the LLC. I have a record label, and I had all these no name artists that are really good, and I set it up to where people could use their music for free because royalty free music and stuff.
Right.
Um, and never found I uploaded that stuff to Spotify. Never my own, unless she's talking about what I'm thinking about doing, which is this next musical project. I might, I know that when you're doing covers and you're using a company like DistroKid, they take care of all the rights stuff for you. So all I have to do is just record it and submit it, and then it's good to go. So yeah,
Nice.
possibly.
Matt says he recently captured his first verified EVP, which is really cool.
Yeah, he showed me that last night. It is.
And then I see you have the inside, scoop there. Phil says, make sure you have a lawyer look over any deals. You don't want to get into a long-term shaft, that's the truth.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of, in my days, with being in a band, I've seen a lot of bands make that mistake. They signed contracts without getting paid money right away.
Exactly.
Now I know a lot of them. I'm probably not going to get paid right away on a deal, but I have benefit where I have a friend like Matt Benton who has dealings with Gravitas Ventures and knows how they do business. So I have a bit of insight on that, which is helpful.
Very helpful. Yeah, we're just waiting for Matt to finish his project so we can all see it.
Yeah.
Just waiting on Matt. Let's see. Mr. Wayne, I'm so very really behind on Janet. Mr. Wayne says, have you thought about approaching a TV network in regards to producing the documentary?
Well, I don't really think it works that way. You have to have a distributor. So, I couldn't go into like say NBC and say, hey, I'm this guy and I made this thing and it's real cool. That's not going to work. So you have to have an in between, and that in between is the distributor. So it's up to the distributor to say, okay, this is worth our time, which is one of the reasons that I'm entering it into film festivals, because when you get laurels for any kind of award or or something like that, then the distributor is going to look at that and say, okay, this might be worth our time, so it helps with that. Plus, I would like to win an award. I'm not going to base my happiness off of that, but it's something that I would like to do.
Well, sure. It's just some kind of a recognition. I think you should get an award, even though Joe already stole the one for what was it?
Best Ass.
Best Ass Award. Hi, Steve. How's it going?
Yeah, I'll never.
Well, we can't say squeaky ass for you no more because you got rid of the squeaky.
Right.
So you wouldn't ruin that one.
Damn it.
Let's see here. Let me get caught up. Let me get caught up. See what we got going on here. Okay, Matt. Matt's got to get back to editing. Thanks for stopping in, Matt. We appreciate it. And let's see if we're missing any questions. Oh, here's one. This is from Phil.
Why DistroKid stuff out for him? I could do that. Yeah, that's something that could be done. It would be, I've given up on the whole like record label thing because it didn't take off, and advertising music on Google is not, you have to have contracts and all this. And I was given 50-50, right? So I'd keep half and I'd give half to the artist, which I know record label is going to do that. I'm pretty sure that the record label gets most of it, and but even still, after like 3 years, I only earned like $70 or $80. You know what I mean? So there wasn't a lot to divvy up. And I know that I'm sure that Phil isn't worried about the money. He just wants the stuff out there.
Right.
If I choose to, do the thing again, yeah, that would be cool. I could definitely throw Philip a bone with that.
Daddy and Daddy Records. Well, yeah, because Phil helped me with my intro music. He did a great job. I love it. So yeah, that's he does a good job at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Friday, Laura, the way you said Mr. Wayne reminds me of Bane.
Mr. Wayne. Oh, right. Like Bane from Batman.
Oh, oh, thanks. Oh, jeez. I got a question for you. Do you know who the fake Kent guy is that shows up in your chat?
I do. I do know who he is.
Is he a friend of yours?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Because I'm thinking, okay, is this guy for real, or does somebody got to say something to him?
yeah, no, oh man, he livened up chat, and that just happened. It happened organically. The guy just
Right.
he just started doing it, and I was like, man, I really like it when he's in chat because it's so much more fun. It seems. I mean, not that there's just like the fun level goes up a little bit when he shows up.
Right.
It's so funny the stuff that he grabs. Like, because there's a thing about Kent, and it's kind of this inside joke I have with the guy where there's a story about Kent, and basically what had happened was he worked at this restaurant, and he was supposed to have cleaned the restaurant the night before and then come in next day to open, right? Well, so he didn't clean the restaurant. He just ate a BLT, and then he went home, and then he came back early, which is, I think, completely reasonable. Like he was going to open the store anyway, so he came back early. It was his mess. He was going to just clean it up before the everybody got there.
Right.
He gets there, and the boss is there. The guy that owns the place is there.
Oh,
and he's
no.
like, why didn't you clean up? And he's like, I did clean up. I did. And he's like, no, clearly you didn't. He's like, oh, I swear to God I did. It's like, Kent, we have you on video not cleaning it, making yourself a BLT, eating it, and then leaving. And he's like, I swear to God. His response was, ghosts must have changed the tapes because I cleaned. I swear to God.
Okay.
And so one of the things that this guy will run with is he'll grab whatever and be like, Wayne changed the tapes or Candy 7 changed the tape. He just grabs, and it's so funny, the stuff that
just random stuff. Okay, because
Yeah.
Alyssa's saying she wants you to say it. Spill the effer's name. We have a beat.
I actually did give it away one night, but that video is deleted. You'll never know unless you were paying attention. Some people know who it is.
She says, meanwhile, me and fake Kent have an undying duel. Well, like I said, I'm thinking, wait a minute, he's got to be somebody he knows. Because nobody's saying anything, and I'm thinking, okay.
I love it. He's like dishing out warnings.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. I'm reading this stuff, and I'm thinking, okay, well, nobody else is jumping on this guy, so apparently it's somebody he knows.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And I really hope that Kent saw that. I really hope that Kent was like, who the hell is this fake Kent guy?
Right, trying to get me in trouble.
Right. Oh, it was good. Good stuff.
Yeah, Friday House says, damn tape demons. That's right. It's still the year of the demon. We still got the rest of this month. Next month, who knows what it'll be? The year of the Bigfoot. Who knows?
Right? Maybe that's what I should do.
Oh, good Lord.
Go hunt Bigfoot.
Hey, why not? It's interesting. You never know, right? Let's see. Candy says, yeah, oh my God, I have like 387 warnings now.
He was warning her in comments too. Because he made some video and Candy made a comment on that, and he's like, I'm warning you, like, just immediately.
Jeez. Hi, Caroline. Welcome. Yeah, Alyssa says, he warned me. He hates me. Well, you should go at it. I'm laughing. I'm thinking, okay, that's why I figured you got to know who it is.
Yeah,
because she goes right after him.
Right. Yeah. No, he's not. He doesn't hate anybody. He's just having a fun time with it.
Good fun. All right. Yeah. So yeah, Candy says he's fun. Okay. So now that we get that squared away, because like I said, I must have missed something. She says, when I didn't realize he was a joke, and I attacked him with very mean things.
I love that. I love that that happened. I love that
Oh,
that happened.
jeez. No, Jimmie ate it right up, Alyssa. Yeah, because I always sit back. I sit back and I wait and I watch before I stick my foot in my mouth telling somebody off. So I just, I wait and I see.
That was, that was really what he was, what he was doing. Like he showed up, and then, so like, my mods are hitting me up in my Discord, like, "Hey, who is this guy? Do I need to get rid of him?" And I'm just like, "No, just let it be.
Let it play out." It's okay. Now we know you know who it is, and it's cool. Wayne says Bigfoot is real. His handprints are all over my fridge.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know my son was at your house, Wayne. Because that's what my husband calls our sons, Sasquatch. Yeah, well, he's got a size like 13, 14 foot.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm thinking, it was a little
He can take
buying him shoes.
he can take one step forward and two steps back and still be ahead of everybody else.
Exactly. And it's funny because all of the kids in his class all had the same size feet. So I don't know what the hell it was that generation of boys. They all had to go to this one specific store in the mall and buy their shoes because they're the only ones that carried the larger size.
Yeah.
Phil says fake cat promoted online bullying.
But in a fun way, I mean, he wasn't telling anybody to go over to channels or do anything like that. He wasn't doing anything hostile,
Right.
But yeah, it was. I think in a way, Fake Kent became a catharsis because I know that even though it says Fake Kent, everybody that was talking to him was talking to Kent. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it was this sort of really fun, cathartic thing that just. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad that happened.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
I was really bummed that he didn't make the premiere, but his mother is not in good shape.
Oh,
it's like on her last. I doubt she'll make it the next 60 days, to be honest.
damn.
Yeah.
So I mean, hopefully, it'll be a peaceful ending. Hi, Julianne. How are you? Welcome. Anybody else have any more questions? Kathy says one of my sons is 6'4", and X called him Sasquatch. Yeah, my son's 6 foot, but yeah, it's 13 shoe, and it's just I don't know. It just doesn't seem like he stops growing.
Mm-hmm.
He's 33, so I mean, it's. I think his growing days are over, but it just doesn't seem like it. And it's funny because my husband's only 5'7".
Oh yeah.
And I'm 5'6". So then when we go somewhere with my son, they're like, "Well, who's this guy?" And we'll say it was our son, and they're like, "What the fuck? Where'd you get him from?" They took grown big. We like to grow them big around our house.
I can see if Fake Kent's busy right now.
Oh, jeez. Well, to be honest with you, because I'm sure that you posted this and a lot of other people posted this was going to be on today. I was waiting for him to pop in the chat.
Yeah, I'll see if I
so
can.
I figured, well, I better before something gets out of hand.
No, let me see what he's doing. He might show up.
That's funny. It'll give Alyssa somebody to get on.
Right.
That's funny. So you haven't heard anything from Kent himself, the real Kent.
No, not yet. I wonder, because the last 2 episodes, I haven't heard anything from his people. No one's come at me. They've all just kind of stopped. And there were some that were coming very often. They would come onto episode 1 or episode 2 and really, really come at me. But the last 2 episodes, they haven't come after me. I have a few moles in the chat. They have like a private Facebook thing. So I have a few moles that are like monitoring the chat for me, just in case, just so I'm prepared for whatever if they start talking about me. And sometimes they can't help it. But I think it's been one of those things that may or may not have been banned to talk about over there because Kent does that.
Ah. So also my curiosity is that seeing that you've done this and this is out for everyone to see, is he still promoting the home as a haunted space?
No, well, so what he's claiming now is that the paranormal activity has become beyond supernatural. His son suffered from some sort of consequences from the spirits, and his son died. Was basically the ghost killed him, which
What?
I know exactly what happened with his son. I know exactly what happened with his son. And it is one of those things that I'm not protecting, but I don't want to talk about what his son was in trouble. His son went to prison,
Oh goodness.
and it was not good. It never is. I went to prison for something awesome. No. But it was one of the worst things that you can do. I will say that. And then he knew that it was not a good thing to be in prison for, and he killed himself.
So he paid for it with his life.
Yeah, he killed himself.
Oh, that's
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for Kent losing his son. That's his first. But, any child.
You do anything like that makes you go to prison, then you're paying the price for what you've done.
Yeah. But on top of that, real quick, just the the fact that Kent turned around and exploited his child's death to try and push this narrative, that I can't. It's like he knows no limits.
Pretty much.
I can't. And I mean, his family put together. His family put together another GoFundMe, and he raised another. He was asking for like 10 grand, and he got another, I think, 3 or 4 grand out of his people when his son died, because he was gonna fly his ashes out here and all this. And it's like,
wow.
He just
it amazes me how people get away with that. My husband had to have a tumor removed from his brain several years ago. And of course, at the time, we didn't have full insurance. So I did a GoFundMe to help with medical bills.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even raise 5 lousy cents.
Wow.
And then you get these other people who are exploiting this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're raising thousands of dollars. I don't know what I did wrong. I mean, thank God there was other people, that he worked with at the time that helped out, and everything turned out okay. But I'm thinking, these people are shoveling shit in your face, and you're handing your money over. And then you got other people out there that have legitimate reasons for doing it, because I didn't even want to do it. But, when you're in that situation and you got to do what you can to help pay the bills,
mm-hmm.
And you don't even get 5 cents. Oh God.
Right.
I'm so angry.
Yeah, I understand. I did the same thing. When I knew my parents were struggling, this was years ago. I put together a GoFundMe, because I'd seen other people do it. And and it went crazy when they did it, and I do it. And again, like you said, I didn't raise anything.
I did it again. Also, another time for a friend of ours who was born blind, and she was eligible for this new procedure that they were doing in, I believe it was Albany, Albany, because that's where the doctor was stationed. And it was a new procedure. They do this surgery where they inject something into the eye. I've seen the paperwork on it, and I'm thinking, oh God. I said, if she even could see this, I don't know if she'd do it. But it was to give her a chance to have some kind of sight.
Right.
It generated whatever the damage was in the eye to give her some kind of sight. So I figured she was struggling with medical bills, and she had to pay a certain amount so that they could finish the procedure. So I did a GoFundMe for her. And again, not even trying to help somebody have the gift of sight.
Yeah.
And nothing.
Yeah, people aren't worried about it unless they know who the person is, or like I don't know.
I was just shocked.
It,
Wayne
it,
West, go ahead.
go ahead. No, I'm good.
Well, yeah, it just blows your mind, when you get a
Mhm.
legit thing going on and you figure, okay, you've seen all these other people do it. Let me try it. And you get squat. So that's whatever. Wayne wants to know, out of the 4 documentaries, which one are you most satisfied with and why?
Hmm. Well, I guess right now, I mean, I really love the way that episode 4 plays. I feel it's an hour and a half long. I don't feel like it feels like an hour and a half long when you're watching it. It wraps up everything, and it is the message that I wanted to put out. But I would say that it ties with episode 2, because in episode 2, I show how the videos were, how I recreated these videos and how he did it, how he did
Right.
those things. So I guess it's kind of a toss up between those two as far as what those videos do themselves. The episode 2 it's pretty damning towards Kent, and episode 4 is the main message. But I really do like the way episode 4 plays out. Of course, I just finished it, but I have yet to sit down and watch all 4 episodes all together, and I do need to do that.
Now, if you did do that, do you think there would be anything that you're going to sit there and pick it apart, aren't you? Is what I'm getting at.
Not too badly,
I think we're our own worst critics.
right. That there's one thing that I think that if I could change what I said, it would be, because I put it all on Luke on the 4th episode where we're talking about the Ovulus, where I'm like, Luke said that there was no way to put things into you couldn't tamper with this thing. But I actually said that too. I said it too. So, but I put it all onto Luke, and I feel like that's the only thing that I would change is Luke and I both felt that was true, is what I would say now. But it's whatever. I'm not hung up on it.
Let's see, Friday says, I was told to go fund me myself once. Come to think of it, they didn't use the word fund.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we've all had that one shot at us.
It was go find yourself.
Go fund yourself, man. I think we've all been there. Let's see.
Carla likes episode. She says episode 1's the most captivating, and episode 4 is the most impactful. That's dope.
Yes, well, they're saying as a whole, it's just you definitely need to submit it to a lot of the film festivals and stuff like that, and it's because I think it deserves an award.
Thank you.
I mean, like I said, there's you call it empath, whatever you want to call it. I do this all the time with people and documentaries and, for Christ's sakes, even just commercials. I absorb everybody's feelings and energy, so that it does bring me where I'm feeling it with them. And like I said, when I sat there and I was watching it, I was just like, oh my God, I'm crying.
Well, so I'm glad that it had that kind of emotional response. I hope that others had that kind of response too, to be honest, because, I couldn't, dude, every time that I would see Luke's dad and I would hear Luke say, my story, dude, I would always well up every single time.
Yeah.
Every time I was putting it together, I think if you have an ounce of empathy or sympathy in your body, you should feel that when he's talking about that, like that.
Yes.
And when Mythos starts talking about how, that person killed themselves over it. That was over Cody and Satori.
Wow.
This girl killed herself. Yeah. Yeah. Her parents had died in a car accident. Mythos misspoke and said this person's daughter, which it was someone's daughter, or someone's child, but that poor girl, her parents died in a car accident like the year before,
Right.
and when the whole Cody and Satori thing happened on Hell Week with Sam and Colby, she became extremely emotionally invested. I mean, she was a child. She was a child, and once she learned that they were fake, man, it just completely wrecked her. And she just, my parents are gone. I want to, I want to go
Yeah.
be with my parents. Or
Well, see, like that, you just proved it right there. That what the fakers are doing, whether it's Cody and Satori or whatever, or these other idiots that are on here, what they're putting out there is causing damage
yeah,
just for their own, personal gain.
right,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
For and they're not thinking about all this stuff. They don't.
no,
That's the thing. It's so careless. It is absolutely careless. And I mean, okay, we can't all be held accountable to think about all possibilities, but it doesn't take a genius to realize that a lot of the time when people are looking for things, when they're looking for paranormal, it's because someone close to them has passed, or not every time, but a lot of times you know, that's an answer. That's one of the things that sparks the quest, you know.
right. Yeah, Mike thinks that the second part was very powerful. I just the whole thing I think was just it hits you to the core, and I think you achieved what you were looking for.
Good, good. That makes me feel the best, because you can only hope that the viewer gets what you're trying to put across. Um, and yeah, I gotta be truthful. Whenever I first started this whole thing, and after episode one came out, I even before episode one came out, I'm like, should I be doing this? Is this something that I should be doing? Can I live with this? Can I live with putting this message out there and dealing with the repercussions if they're already it's sort of like that 48-hour rule that Jeff was talking about. Are you still upset about this in 48 hours? If you are, then go for it. I didn't think
Right,
about that rule then. I wasn't thinking about that. It was just, can I live with this? You know,
right, right. Julie said it was done very well. It pulls you in. It did, and it transports you to a different place. It was well put together, ran smoothly, worded and spoken very well.
very good, good. Thank you, Julie.
You definitely you got the story across, and it was a perfect telling of the story. You weren't attacking anybody or uh,
Mm-hmm.
or anything like that. You were just telling the facts and telling. You told the story with a lot of passion. Um, and like what Julie says, it pulled you in. Jeff says, yeah, the good old 48-hour rule has bailed me out many times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Um,
imagine it's a good rule to go by.
oh yeah, especially in the stuff that you guys are doing, or any of us that go out and do any kind of investigating or dealing with, like with Jeff when he does a lot of, you're doing a lot of personal residences of people, during investigations. I mean, it takes a lot, and it's you committed. And again, there's your 48-hour rule. Is this something that you really can invest yourself in?
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I want to go after Paranormal Nightmare. And I'm kind of brainstorming, like, how could I do it? And then I guess I don't want to give too much away, but I think the best way I could do it is to reach out to some of these people that they've gone and talked to, see
Mhm.
what's happened since they were there,
Right.
stuff like that.
That's the
But then
beginning.
I have to do a lot of tracking. It can be done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you feel that that's something that, yeah, that you could put your own touch on it and bring it out to the public where we can, see what's actually going on. Like the bashing, like uh Beardo did a show the other day. It was talking about the debunkers, versus everything that's going on, and Hi, Yummy Donut. Welcome. Um, you got to have that. You're supposed to be a debunker when you're an investigator.
Right.
We're not calling ourselves ghost hunters because that's not what we're doing. We're investigating the situation and the circumstances. There's the difference, and you're
Right.
supposed to debunk it as you go along. Anybody, that is a true investigator knows that's the rule. But we have to give tip our hats to the debunkers. They're not anybody's favorites
Right.
because
Yeah.
most people take it as a personal attack, and that's not what they're doing.
Right.
I've always called them the paranormal police because we have no guidelines or standards or anything like that that are being followed. So it's anything goes. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't know half of the stuff that's going on out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why, having Kenny dissect those EVPs for me, because, I'm an audio guy. So to me, it's like, this is magic. What the hell is happening?
Exactly.
Why are there voices here? And to hear him give me an explanation, which was reasonable, it definitely made me, I don't know, there was value there because those were the things that I was holding on to, Still
Well, it's exciting. I mean, like I sent you. Who else did I send it to? I sent it to Joe. I sent it to Friday. Steve from Nocturnal Radio. I wanted everybody to listen to those the EVPs that I had caught on that recording because I wanted to make sure what I thought I was hearing was there. And it's I always say that even when I worked in the dental field for over 30 years, more than one set of eyes is always better. So it'd be the same thing with the EVPs. It's more than one set of ears because, again, like Kenny would say, you're thinking that you want to hear something,
right.
so you might just make it up or project it in your own mind, where somebody on the outside is going to give you an honest, feedback.
And I mean, he's right that does happen with me and the EVPs. Like I said, I'd given up looking. I was like, there's nothing here. And so then I started cleaning up the audio and just letting it play out and just like, where am I going? What's happening? And I heard this sound. I was like, oh, what was that? And I listened to it again and there's something there. And I turned it up. So it wasn't like I was looking for anything. I had already given up. I was like, there's nothing in here worth focusing on. And then right when I dropped my guard, these anomalies started happening. And then, I'm looking it up on the spectral because you can look at the waveforms in spectral and you can see the noise, when all the frequencies are going on in the room. And this thing was in there. I could see where it was hitting. And I'm like, okay, that's actually there in the recording. It's not an artifact from me cleaning this up. That was one of the things that Kenny, and I didn't put it in there, but it's one of the things that Kenny was talking about, that when you start cleaning up audio, is it really cleaning it up? He's like, I think it distorts it. And it's like, well, yeah, that's absolutely absurd. I love audio. This is what I do. I can guarantee you when you're cleaning audio. Now, yes, if you don't know what you're doing and you're cleaning audio, absolutely. You could, that's most of Kent's EVPs are like that, where it's just this garbled junk because he doesn't know how to use the software properly. So it sounds like ass. But I also think he does it on purpose. There's a lot. I could probably, I'm sure I could take some sort of sound and distort the shit out of it. And it says, you hear that? It says, it says Jimmie or whatever.
Right. Exactly. Like Friday says, content analyzing is a must for any scientific collection of information to eliminate false data. Yeah, and I totally agree. I'm going to be having Friday out because I want to discuss all of that, frequencies and the whole process. Because a lot of people don't understand that. That's why I try to put in, when I'm doing the magazine, I try to put that kind of stuff in so people can educate themselves. another reason why I do what I do here, so that we can be educated and educate others on how this stuff works. And a lot of the stuff that you're getting isn't what you think it is.
Right.
So there is a reason for this, so that you're getting true readings or true data.
Yeah.
Friday says, when going over EVPs, always look at the spectrogram as well as the waveform.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, where you can see all the frequencies. It's called spectral. And yeah, that can help confirm, like, okay, there is a sound happening here. You know, it's not just some sort of artifact happening from, you know, any number of filters that you're putting on there, which I typically only use. The only thing that I use when it comes to filters is compressors and limiters, and auto sound noise gates. That's it. You know, that's typically all I'm using. I did a little EQ on this and that, but typically when I record or when I'm doing stuff, I like the source to sound good already. But I gotta tell you, you know, working with 6 other people who are not in the same state with me, you know, hey, will you set up a camera? What kind of microphone do you have? You know, and it's like with Side-Eyed Guy, he literally his stuff was filmed with a phone. He had 2 phones,
Right.
And you know, or Kenny, it was a webcam and a camera that he set off to the side. Matt is the only one that set up actually 2 cameras, you know, for me. And then you have the audio. The audio, his audio was the hardest to make sound good. I'm not gonna lie, because I can hear his voice bouncing off the walls.
Right.
But I didn't want to clean it up so much that it didn't sound natural, you know. And I had to do that with the Benjamin Elliott scenes because there was so much noise going on in his house. And you know, that's the thing, right? I'm interrupting someone's life.
Yeah.
Interrupting someone's life. So you can't be too picky. Oh, that doesn't work. Will you set up this? Will you do? No one, you know what I mean? No one's going to want to do that. You got to be easy to work with and say, okay, I'll worry about it later. You know?
Right. Wayne says he likes how you approach your documentaries with an open mind, leaving it for the viewers to decide.
Yeah, because, well, I mean, I do use some strong words. You know, that's bullshit. That's a lie. I use words like that. But yeah, I mean, it's. I could tell you what to think.
I'm sorry. I just
Yeah, right.
fake
Yeah.
Kent showed up.
He sure did. Where am I?
You're on the raw side.
There he is. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've lost train of thought. What were we talking about?
Just I thought it was funny.
No, I saw him come in too.
Excuse me. It'll come to you.
Yeah, whatever. We can move on. If anybody remembers what I was talking about.
So Friday says, if you overfilter an EVP, you can create an entirely new sound.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, you got
that's
Jeff
another
on
thing.
a roll.
I'm sorry, say again. What were you saying?
You got Jeff on a roll now because you mentioned that other group, and he says he's got so much he wants to say about them.
Yeah. And I lost whatever that was too.
Oh shoot! Oh, because he was here. Oh, I'll reread it. Where was it? Oh, talking about
overfiltering EVPs.
Overfiltering, yeah, an EVP can create an entirely new sound.
So Kenny was talking about it was all friction, right? It's your hand moving across the camera or whatever, and you know, well, in episode 2, I believe it is, and possibly episode 1, I can't remember if I did or didn't, but there are moments in there where there are voices happening, and I know that there's nobody in the house, and no one's holding on to the recorder, you know, no one, and so that completely eliminates the friction argument. So again, yeah, like I do think there's something going on at Kent's house that's paranormal. You know, I do. I maintain that, but it don't matter. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter because he had to go faking stuff. And that's the thing. Beardo the other day, I popped in and he was singing praises to me, like
Right.
when he was sending people over to go see it. And he was talking about how the reason why he ended up not doing that segment, the investigators versus the bunker segment with me, was because he didn't want to offend me because he thought that I was sold on Kent. He thought that I was sold on it,
Okay.
and he doesn't believe in it at all. But that's the problem. That's the thing, right? He doesn't think any of it's true at all because Kent faked things
There you
at
go.
all,
Yeah, you can't trust it.
Right.
So he pretty much contaminated the whole area,
Mm-hmm.
the whole building, the whole experience because of what he did.
Yeah, not just for me either. Like I said, like there are all these other people that have gone there and they think they've got, and you know what? Maybe they did. I mean, I feel like I did. But yeah, like I reached out to one of them and was like, hey, if you're not fake and you actually give a shit about what you're doing, like, come check out this thing that I did because I have a similar opinion to you, but it's different. I guarantee you that. Everybody was riding that. When I say everybody, there were a lot of people that were riding that train. Let's go to Kent Burris's house. I mean, he had a lot of people coming there.
Yeah. Well, you actually, you turn the light on for a lot of people. Friday says for EVP filtering, you can use an EQ, but I tend to use a high pass AY 70 hertz and roll off at 12 dB and noise reduction. Not much more.
So yeah, what I typically, when it comes to speaking voices, I scoop out the high and I scoop out the low, and it should enhance the speaking voice. But when you do that to EVPs, there's no response. Which is really strange. It should have a response, but in the ones that I was doing, there was no response from that, and it was like, why is that happening? It left me with more questions.
See, Jeff says Kenny is full of shit. Okay. I've worked with him. Just kidding. Love Kenny, but some things I disagree with him on.
Sure. But that's the thing. That's the point of talking, right?
Right.
As full of shit as Kenny may be, he's definitely, yeah, no. I think I have there's a lot of value to Kenny. He doesn't know everything. And he's looking at it from a completely closed off, skeptical point of view. He's hard skeptic.
Oh, yes. Very hard.
And that's fine. We need those kinds of people. We do. Because they'll bring you back. I needed it. Because, while I believe in these EVPs, it's like I need to be able to see if I can handle whether or not someone, destroys my evidence, and he did a little bit to a degree. But,
right.
Well, no, he did a lot, but not to the ones that I, to the EVPs. I feel like his while it was definitely relevant to some of the EVPs, not to all of them.
Right. Hi, Ryan. Welcome. That's a good question, Jeff. And that's another thing. Like I said, I'm going to have Friday on next week, I believe it is, and we're going to discuss these kinds of things. If negative EVPs are lower frequencies and positive ones are higher, I think we miss a lot of stuff because we can't hear it with our own ears. So you've got to pick it up on a different frequency. I maybe they're communicating at different levels.
Yeah, I've thought about that. I wondered because so I've heard EVPs, like say it's in a mausoleum where it's all made of marble, right? And you're in a room like that, and when you're speaking, I mean, if depending on how big it is, you're going to have huge reverb, right? Well, I've heard EVPs come from mausoleums where the room is responding. You get that reverb,
right?
Which tells me that it has to be something subsonic or supersonic. And it's because we can't hear it doesn't mean that the sound isn't going to bounce around the room. It's going to do it, regardless of whether or not you can hear it, because physics. So the fact that there are EVPs that have the reverb to it tells me that it's actually sound that's happening that we just can't hear for some reason. I don't know if that's true. I could be full of shit, but that's my scientific brain thinking,
Right. Well, so yeah, that's why I want to dig into all of that and figure that out. Because might be a lot of things that you're picking up and you're like, okay, well, that's crap, but that actually might be something.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not at the right frequency.
Right.
And yeah, I agree. Kenny is very hard skeptic.
Mm-hmm.
I think even if something actually happens to Kenny, he'll talk himself out of it.
Sure. Yeah. I wonder about that. I know that something happened this last time. From what I understand, I think this happened this last time that those Kenny and Jeff and Joe and Michael, I think that's it. They went to the Monroe house early November, and the door underneath of them closed, and they all felt it. And Joe was like, "I know exactly what that is. That's the door underneath here." And I guess there was some sort of argument, and Joe was like, "No, here, Kenny, stand here. I'll go do it." And that's exactly what it was. But there was no reason for that door to close, I think, or open or close. Jeff could probably tell you better. I'm getting it. I'm secondhand, So, but I think that's something that happened. I could be wrong.
Jeff said he got. I've got a good disembodied voice that has room reverb on it. And Fake Kent says that you're talking so much with your hands, it looks like you're trying to guide a plane in for a landing.
Well, I'm very expressive, Fake Kent.
Me, you guys, I'm grabbing onto the desk because I'm usually,
I have to have something to do with my hands.
So yeah, I usually try not to do it too much when I'm online. Friday says, yes, reverb means there is a physical bounce off of the original sound.
Yeah.
So,
or at least it would imply that. It would imply that.
Right.
It could somehow be that, kind of like my theory about when you see a spirit that you're not actually seeing the real entity itself, you're seeing a projection that the entity wants you to see. Could it be that EVPs are the same way, where it knows that this thing can hear it and it's projecting how it remembers or how it would assume it would sound? I'm just spitballing here, but
right.
So, because we really don't know anything. I could be completely wrong about it being a physical thing. I could be completely wrong about it being a projected idea too. We just don't know until we somehow. And I wonder if it's, do we stumble into it? How do we even begin to figure that out? When you think about radio stations, right? Radios are broadcasted through frequency, right? But what's interesting about that is songs themselves are frequency.
Right.
So it's beaming information to your antenna. Your radio is decoding that information and playing the sound that is coming from that frequency. It's just interesting to me that sound can carry sound. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Frequency can carry sound like that. So maybe there's something to that. Maybe there's something to that.
So what you're pretty much saying is that they could travel. They're piggybacking on an original sound that you're picking up.
Yeah, it could be.
So yeah, that's the thing. The paranormal really hasn't changed since the beginning. Not very much.
Yeah.
So we're really just rehashing the same things that we know and what people are doing. That's why I'm always saying I wish people would get together, and collect all of their data. All the the electronic guys get together, and the other guy. Everybody gets together,
Mhm.
and then we could actually come up with something new.
Yeah. Yeah, because like you said, and that's the other thing, right? You're saying it's like it hasn't really changed much since the beginning. And if
Right.
that's the case, then why in the hell aren't we any further along than we were?
We're not.
You know,
We really
I
are
mean,
not.
no, we're not. I mean, and that's very discouraging. It's like, well, why haven't we figured something out of this?
This technology that we have today, you think that we could come up, but see, nobody puts any kind of effort into the science.
Right?
That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, they just copy what everybody else is doing and think that's the right way to go about it. I
And
mean,
then
I
they
don't know
crank
what the right way is, but I
it.
know
Right.
that I definitely know that you don't exploit people and you don't use people's emotions against them. That's
Exactly. Yeah.
as long as you're not doing that, then I don't think you're hurting anybody by messing around with a spirit box or apps or whatever.
Well,
But
you're only hurting yourself because you're wasting your money and your time.
yeah,
It's and again, everybody bashes all of these things, these equipments, because I don't have all this cool equipment either. But if I did have it, I would test it out just to
yeah,
see what would come through. I mean, I've done the app thing, and you get a weird thing here and there. So you really can't close the door on that stuff.
right,
It's not for nothing. We don't know. We don't know.
yeah, yeah. We don't know anything. That's something that I think a lot of mainstream scientists tend to forget is that, okay, science technically has existed since the beginning of time, period, right? Science has existed. How are we so, what's the word? Pretentious enough to believe that well, I mean, I don't know how long science has been studied by man, but I'll give them, within the last 2,000 years, it's a lot less than that, but within the last 2,000 years, science has come a long way, sure. But to think that in that amount of time, we have figured out everything there is to know about science, that has been around. I'm kind of stumbling here. I think it's ridiculous for people to think that they figured everything out in that short amount of time. And they'll say things like, "Oh, we know we don't know everything."
Right.
Like, but when you're approached with things like UFO, research or paranormal research like this, it's all a joke because it can't exist. It can't be real. There's no way anything can travel at the speed of light. Who says they have to? Maybe they're bending space and time. Oh, well, that's completely impossible. How could you do that? Well, gravity, I guess, can do it.
Impossible for us.
I don't even think it's impossible for us right now. But is it? Because, we're, as of late, there's been a lot of crazy sightings going on.
Yes. Well, see, they can't hide it anymore because
Right.
everybody's got a cell phone. So you can't hide that stuff that's showing up in the sky. So now they have to come up with, some kind of horseshit story or, hey, no, this is what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
Even like Mike says, we don't have any parameters or guidelines exactly beyond the basic principles of physics. Who's to say what is or is not happening outside that sphere?
Right.
He's right. We don't. That's the thing. We just don't know.
Yeah. And like I'm sure, like, so our periodic chart has what, like 115 different elements and chemicals on it, right?
That we know of.
Exactly.
Right.
We live in an infinite universe. The universe has no end, which to me says there's probably an infinite amount of chemicals and material, minerals and elements out there that we don't know about. And what can those things do? What,
Right.
Now again, that's speculation, but I'm just saying, like, doesn't it make sense that if our universe is ever expansive the way they say it is, wouldn't that mean that not only the idea of more elements and chemicals would also be ever expansive, but um, possibilities? You know, I mean, I
Right.
understand I'm not going to grow wings and fly away. I understand that's not going to happen, you know, but who's to say that there isn't an Earth out there somewhere where there are people who have wings? You know, I mean,
Exactly. Well, that's why I always, when people say the argument, there's no such thing as, life anywhere else. Why would the creator, whoever you consider him to be, only make one planet in this entire universe, galaxy, whatever you want to call it, and only make one planet with life?
right.
I mean, that's just crazy. There's got to be life somewhere else. It might not be life as we know it, like you just said, but
Yeah.
there is something else out there. We might not want to meet up with it, but
Right. Yeah.
you never know. Dragon says the same thing. Unfortunately, so many people consider the paranormal a pseudoscience and not real. It's hard to get any real traction in making advances. And that's the problem right there. Until we get more people to believe that there is something else going on out there,
Right.
and it's right in front of our faces, that we're pretty much stuck where we are.
Yeah. 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 I'm seeing that Carburetors and Coffee is inquiring about
I'm way behind, guys.
Fake
I'm
Kent.
gonna crow the chat. Sorry.
Candy says that Fake Kent is a friend of mine, and that's not true. I never said that. The spirit said that. It was never me. And I don't know who he is, so you feel free to let him know how you feel, Carburetors and Coffee. You feel free.
I don't even see where Bill said that.
For me, it's close to the top of the chat, but I'm looking at. I know you're scrolled back.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to get.
I was looking for the initial back and forth, but I didn't see it.
I didn't take time. Oh, cool.
He timed Fake Kent out. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, did he? Okay, yeah, because he was in here. No, Bill, that's a friend.
I know that he's going to be so proud that happened.
Oh. Sorry, Bill, you weren't in the know.
How long do you time him out for?
I don't know. How long, Bill? So, yeah, that's Kathy says, if we could get Elon Musk into the paranormal, that would do it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, 5 minutes, he said.
You apologize.
Bill didn't know. He's sorry.
Yeah, Elon Musk. And man, if he was, I wonder, it would be really cool if that guy had the spare time to throw some funding that direction,
Right. Ryan says faster than light travel is possible. They announced that a few weeks back, or at least close to light travel. I do believe that we will eventually achieve a warp speed.
Oh,
so
for sure.
So that we can travel, back over referencing, Star Trek. I do believe that eventually will come to fruition.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I do too.
Not in our lifetime, but He said, sorry, Jimmie. I checked his profile and it was a guy you did. Yeah, it's okay, Bill.
Yep.
He thought he was messing with you.
I love that.
Oh, no, don't get scared off, Bill, because I'm out of here.
You're all right, man. You're all right. I will. Someone Wayne says he's theorizing that it's Rob Linklater. I wish that were the case. But no, Rob is gone, guys. Rob is not going to come back. Rob is gone.
Okay, I don't know what happened there. Just
Yeah,
on yours or on YouTube at all in general?
Just gone. Yeah, he's gone. He's not dead. He's not dead, but we're not going to hear from him for a while.
Oh, okay.
Maybe never again. I don't know. But
Oh, okay. I didn't hear about that. I was wondering where he's been. Kathy says, what do you guys think of the people who claim to be from the future? Some are pretty convincing.
Yeah, I don't believe any of it for a second. I really love the story of John Teeter. But we all at this point we know that John Teeter, that was one of the best hoaxes ever. John Teeter was on, well, the man himself was never on Art Bell, but the people that were, I guess, his designated speakers, they would be on Art Bell, or they would write stories about John Teeter. John Teeter was apparently somebody who came back from, I can't remember what year, or 2036 or something like that. And this is in the 90s. And he was looking for a specific IBM computer from the 80s. And because it had this specific component in it that we needed for something, I can't remember what, but there were pictures of this device that was apparently his time machine. And I always loved that story. But sadly, it's not true. And if there are time travelers, we're never, ever going to be told about that. I don't think we'll ever be told about that.
Yeah, you might be right.
It's possible that's what these UFOs are. I mean, and I would think that with the way they move, there has to be some sort of time distortion going on.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that's as close to time machine that we're gonna, that potentially it could exist that we're gonna see. I really don't think the government would ever tell us if time travel was possible.
Right.
Because everybody would want to go. Everybody.
Oh yeah.
Want to go back and do something,
back or forward and change something, and that would be a good thing.
I'd be going into tomorrow and finding out what the lottery number's in, and then go back to
there. You go. That's one of the reasons.
That's exactly what I would do.
That's what my husband says too. Don't worry about it, Bill. It's okay, Bill. I'll spank Bill later for his bad.
You just wait till fake Kent is no longer under that penalty. He'll let you have it himself.
He'll come back and get you.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's funny. Yeah, everybody's laughing. Don't worry about it, Bill. Let's see. Where? Let's see, because I'm saying I always try not to miss anybody's stuff. Let's see. Friday says, as far as any mass going to sea, it could take an infinite amount of energy, push even a portion of that speed. That's what I'm saying. I think eventually, not our lifetime, but eventually, I think it'll be something.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be more like we're going to end up figuring out how to create wormholes or distort time somehow. I don't know, but propelling something that quickly, there are a lot of things. Because what happens is, if once you get to light speed, your mass begins to stretch, and you would die. You would die. Like if your body is stretched like that, and then you come back into regular time, your body is still going to be stretched like that.
Stretched, right?
Because we don't have the ability to bounce back. If we were made of gelatinous stuff, then perhaps, But then again, that leaves the question: well, how are they doing it? If they're
doing it, right? They're using a Stargate. That's what it is.
Right. Mhm.
and we just don't know where it is. Kathy wants to know, okay, how about the Simpsons foretelling the future?
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, isn't it? The most interesting one is the Simpsons one. Well, the Donald Trump one, like right down to like the person dropping the sign in the background. That's that is very strange, but I don't think that Matt Groening traveled time to come up with that. You know what I mean? I think it. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Oh no. So I'm saying it's kind of weird when you do see that stuff. Uh, or you like, I don't know which one it was. It could be that video you guys are talking about, where the guy was totally alone, and he says he was in the future. And
Uh,
I'm just trying to think of what did he go through to set that all up? Because it was brilliant.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. People are fun like that. People come really clever. You know, there's some really clever people out there. The story of it could be it's an ARG, which is like an alternate reality game, right? And I've seen some really brilliant ones. This person that said the sun went down 3 days ago and hasn't come back, and he's taking pictures of it's all looks nighttime and stuff, and like people are beginning to panic, and it's really interesting stories. People are really clever with the stuff they
Right.
come up with. The horror movie Smile was based on an ARG it started as YouTube videos.
It's amazing. That's what I'm saying. The technology that we have, the stuff that we come up with, somebody's got to put, like I say, a group of us got to get together and come up with something that's going to move the paranormal field forward.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just we're stalled because we're all doing the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
same equipment, same kind of procedures, and it's just and it's and all hoping for that that lucky break.
Yeah,
Carlos,
that has some interesting ideas.
excuse me. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, when a lot of people, who did I was talking with? Oh, when I was talking with Steve from Nocturnal Radio, we were talking about stuff like that too. And he says the problem is they do have data, tons of it, because over 30 years, him and another friend of his friends, he has even more documented, stuff from probably 50 years. If he could get this stuff together, then you know what you need to make what we need to move us forward. And he says the only problem is he's not into electronics, so he wouldn't even know even how to start to do something like that. Let's see. Carla says, when you're under anesthesia, do you know how much time has passed? No, because it does not exist in that state. Some of that stuff they use is good. It's scary.
Well, I guess that kind of goes along with the saying of if a tree falls down in the woods, doesn't make a sound.
Yes, I can say yes, it does.
Yeah, I believe it does too, and I think that what Carla's arguing there is similar, right? Because I mean, you're the one asleep there, but time is still passing for everybody else.
Right.
I mean, when you wake up, it's not like it's still 3 o'clock when you went under anesthesia. It's like 8:30 at night when you wake up or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much.
Time has passed, but I do understand what she means. We measure time based on the rotation of the Earth itself, and then rotating around the sun. That's how we do time here. But I mean, if we were to leave Earth and go just be not even on a planet circling a sun or circling a star, time would still pass. We would still grow old and we would still die. We wouldn't just cease growing or cease aging. Time is right. Time is an interesting thing. And I like the idea that all time, everything is happening everywhere all at once. Everything that can happen has happened and is happening all at once. And that our bodies are just essentially the time machine we're passing through time linearly,
Right.
you know.
Let's see. Dragon says the other ones you have with the whole time thing is the time fog and the Bermuda Triangle. I forgot the details, but the pilot and the plane were gone much longer than the data accounts for the plane.
Mm.
Yes, that is awful weird.
Right.
And you know,
Yeah, stuff like that happens. And again, I mean, it's a story that we're being told. I'm not trying to talk over you. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. But have you noticed that we haven't heard anything about the Bermuda Triangle in years?
We haven't. We haven't had. Maybe people just stopped going wherever the heck it was that everyone was disappearing. You know, I don't know. I mean, I know that planes fly through there every day, but yeah, you know which video really astounds me is the one of the commercial jet that just there's like these 3 objects spinning around this commercial jet, and then all of a sudden they go faster and faster, and then all of a sudden and the jet is gone, and so are those things. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting video. It raises questions to me like, well, where did this video come from? There's 2 videos. There's one that's infrared, and then there's one that's just regular. They say it's satellite. It's all satellite recorded. I'm surprised you haven't seen that. That it's an interesting video. Probably fake, but I don't know. You know, with the way that the UFO thing is really, that's a totally different subject now than it was 20, 30 years ago, you know, even 5, 6 years ago. It's totally different. It's really crazy because people are taking that way more seriously now, it seems like. Anyway.
Kathy wants to know, what about deja vu? It happens to me a lot throughout my life where I see the moment of this has happened before and know what happens next.
Yeah, I've experienced that. Where like, say I'm walking through Walmart or something, and like someone says something and someone trips, and I see somebody grab a shirt, and it's like, oh, I dreamt about this. This has happened before. You know, I've had that happen. I don't know what causes that. Perhaps I think that it's possible that, you know, we're all connected somehow. You know, that could be a thing, that all of us have some sort of tether to each other somehow. You know, I don't know if that's true. I'm spitballing again. There's a theory of, and this isn't a new theory, but there are scientists who are basically leaning towards the idea that the Big Bang happened, right? But it has happened before an infinite amount of times, and every time that it happens exactly the same way. So basically what it says is that the universe explodes and expands until it gets to a point where it stops expanding. The acceleration of its expansion slows down, and then it eventually stops expanding, and then it begins to contract again, and then it contracts and all the way back to the beginning of where, you know, it comes back together and then explodes out again the exact same way as it did before, meaning that everything that happened the first time happens exactly the same way the second time again. And that we're continuously in this life loop where we are doing this an infinite amount of times over and over, and somehow our brains are remembering that, you know,
right? Something triggers it.
Yeah, I like that idea. I don't know that I believe that until they can prove that that's what's happening. I don't know if they'll ever be able to prove that. But, you know, or then again, it could be the idea of parallel universes. You know, maybe you in another universe is somehow trying to get you a message, you know, or who knows, you know, I mean, again, I like the example I used before. You know, I'm in Walmart, someone says something, I look over, someone picks up a shirt, and I've seen all this before.
And it triggers it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't, you know, I mean,
right? Yeah, because it happens to me all the time. Happens
Yeah.
all the time. And we'll be out somewhere. And my husband will say, I get this strange look on my face. He's like, he knows what's going on.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, "What's?" I said, "I'm reliving a moment here, and it's something triggered it, and I get this look on my face, and I totally know exactly what's going to happen."
Right. Yeah, I've had that happen.
All the time. It's
My mom
sometimes
dreamt about the
annoying.
Challenger exploding, and then it happened the next
Yeah,
day.
yeah. So see, it's a connection to something. Let's see. Jeff says everyone needs to watch the paranormal documentary called Naked Equipment. It's fresh and sorry. What am I talking about?
Naked Equipment is a totally different kind of movie.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That was one of my OnlyFans titles I was talking about earlier.
That's what I was remembering.
Right. I will look that up though. I'm always looking for something I haven't seen before, and that title doesn't sound familiar.
Oh yeah, we'll have to look into that one.
Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and put that up.
He says you should ask Seg about deja vu. He knows a lot about it.
Okay.
And I've done it ever since I was a child. I used to have dreams, and I always used to call them premonition dreams because I would dream about stuff that's going to happen in school the next day, like surprise quizzes, and I would know all the answers. So that's pretty much how I aced most of my testing in school.
He might be talking. It's called
Go
Parasense, the Naked Experiments. Because when I looked up the Naked Experiments, it literally said experiments in nudity, and I was like, "This is not what he's talking about."
It could be. Is that what you're talking about, Jeff? What are you and Dana watching over there? We never know.
Yeah.
What Jeff is up to. Let's see. Friday House. Time is of the same fabric as space. Both can be bent. And it could be stretched too.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Like in orbit, there's like a specific place in orbit above the Earth where I think the Challenger, or not the Challenger, the what's it called? The International Space Station is like 1 minute or 2 minutes behind us in time all the time because it's in like a certain place. Like time literally slows down there, which is weird. It like actually slows down so much that the clocks are affected.
Yeah. Jeff said, yeah, sorry, it's called Parasense.
Okay.
The Naked Experiment. Don't Google. Just too late, Jeff. We found out what you and Dana are watching.
Yeah.
Don't try to cover it up. Hi, Jethro. Welcome. Gave away one of his little naughty secrets. My goodness. Let's see here.
Did Fake Kit make it back?
Not yet. It has been over 5 minutes.
Yeah. Scared him off. Scared him off.
Got to tell him that it was a boo-boo.
He had to. He has to know that something like that was eventually going to happen.
It was a boo-boo. Oh, Friday wants to know where you find this naked equipment. I'll have to message you later. I have to message you later. Let's see. Laura, update. It's called Parasense, the Naked Experiment. Parasense is very important. We found out because Jimmie looked it up.
Yeah. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, wait, that can't be. Because it was experiments in nudity. It's like, I will bookmark this and come back to this later.
Right? So we know what Jimmie's doing later on.
I do want to know what Jeff is talking about, too.
Oh, jeez. Let's see. Jethro says Fake Kent is probably Hair Force.
No.
I can tell you that
it's not. Yeah.
I can tell you he's not. Air Force doesn't come to mind.
Yeah. And they're not enough, even though Kent himself is illiterate, When Hair Force makes spelling mistakes, it's clear that it was Hair Force making the spelling mistakes.
Ah,
At least that's what I've noticed. It's like he types something, and then something happens to his phone, and then he types it again. So like he'll double what he said, and I don't know. It's just I've noticed when Hair Force makes spelling mistakes, it's always the same kind of spelling mistakes.
and that gives them away.
Uh-huh.
Kathy says she knew that you would save the page.
Well, you know
Hey,
me well,
I
then,
gotta
don't
have
you?
something to do later.
So this could be interesting. What is it? Naked experiments. All right.
You just type in one wrong word, and you never know what's gonna pop up.
Mm-hmm.
I had that actually having an ex-boss of mine. His daughter, they used to make, anybody knows got kids, paper dolls.
Oh, okay.
And at that time, there was a site you could go to bring up prints for clothing for the paper dolls. And she wanted to print them out and cut them out for her dolls. So she told her father, where do I get it? He goes, well, you type in paper dolls and it should come up. Well, she
Right.
typed that in, and nope. It was an adult website, and he turned and looked at the computer. And he's like, "Oh my god!" And he goes running over. So it was totally the wrong one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what was it? Wicked.com. Because like right, so Wicked, the movie that just came out, Wicked. On the backs of all of the toys, it says, Wicked.com, but Wicked.com is not. It's a porn site.
It's
And so
naughty.
yeah, and so there are all these toys that are promoting Wicked.com.
Yikes!
Their public relations people didn't look into that before they.
Oh my god, it's funny. That is funny. Let's see. You never know. You got to be careful how you word it because you get some really freaky stuff showing up.
Uh-huh.
So, Jeff goes, don't Google cake farts.
Mm-hmm. I say do Google cake farts. It's one of my favorite old internet videos. It's so fucking weird.
Okay.
It's
Never heard of it.
It's exactly what it sounds like, and it's just what is happening. You know what I love? Cake farts.
Oh,
It's fucking weird.
Nice.
People are strange, and we breathe the same air as these people.
Oh, yeah. They do some really weird crap. Actually, I love to share the one I always share to friends who aren't feeling so good and they're having a bad day is Trunk Monkey.
Trunk Monkey.
Yeah. That is just the funniest freaking thing. It's the latest in security for your car. Trunk Monkey.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that.
Oh, that's funny. Friday says, be careful searching anything. Rule 34 is a thing.
It sure is. Rule 34 is what is it? Basically, if it exists, there's probably porn of it that exists too.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Ryan, Trunk Monkey. Yeah, see, he knows what Trunk Monkey is. It's freaking funny. Let's see. My son brought me a piece of cake home, no farts included. That's Kathy.
That you know of.
You don't know what they do. I hear some horror stories about restaurants, and because I have a lot of friends that own restaurants and stuff like that, and bakeries, and they'll tell you which ones not to eat or where to go, or don't piss anybody off in the kitchen, guys, because it's coming back with something extra.
Never send food back. Ever.
Never. You're always going to get a bonus with it. Jeff says, Kathy, you don't want none of that. Let's see. Mike says it was Suburban Ford in Sandy, Oregon, did Trunk Monkey commercials in the 90s. Yeah, it's old, but it's freaking hysterical.
Suburban Ford.
I remember when I used, like I said, when anybody I know that's having a bad day, I'll send the video to them through chat, and they're just, how can you not laugh? And then anything to brighten somebody's day.
Uh-huh. My favorite, I really like looking at you ever heard of the Winnebago Man?
No.
There's a whole documentary. It's called Winnebago Man. This is the guy that invented the Winnebago, and he's doing commercials for it. And they were trying to get him to say this specific line, and he just could not do it. And he goes off. Lots of shit. Like so if you need a good laugh, you look up Winnebago Man.
Yeah, I'll have to do that.
That's a good one.
Well, he's looking for something funny. Or like, what is that? My sister's gonna get. Well, my sister's not feeling so good. I'll send her the one from I believe it's Sesame Street, where it's the hippie character and the two pink creatures on either side, and it's Mana.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I love that too.
I send that out to her.
I remember
every time.
There was a Muppet show in the 90s, and Sandra Bullock was on it as a guest, and they did that. They did a skit with her where she did the Mana.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like a shrink, and I think it was Kermit was like, well, this weird thing happens every time I say Mana. Then these things
pop up, right?
He's like, well, you see the problem, and she's like, can I try that? And then it just becomes this whole song and dance. It's really funny.
That's really good. But yeah, I do. I recommend the Trunk Monkey. You guys will just. It's so, and there's multiple ones. So, you guys got any more questions for Jimmie?
Yeah, I wish I could shed some more light on what's next. I will say this. I'm starting to think about because it's a YouTube channel, I should do more YouTube friendly type of content. More like Beardo or Mythos or whatever or Seg. And if anybody knows a thing about my drum blanket page, my energy over there is much different. And I was thinking, well, why don't Crow kind of actually suggested it to me. It was like, you have this energy over there. Why don't you bring that over to this channel? And it's like, well, I'm not against that. It's totally different than what people. It's still me, but it's totally different. It's not
right.
It's not this serious thing. If I were to do it, it would be me basically being funny. But at the same time, I think there'll be. Yeah, I saw a video yesterday that had come out a few days ago, and it's this guy talking about how horror movies open the door to hauntings in his house. And I'm listening to him talk about what he was experiencing, and I'm like, no, this dude's just uneducated. He's been made to fear things, and he's just uneducated. And I thought about maybe, making a video about that, kind of a reaction thing. I thought about doing those kinds of videos because I do have to do something. I do need to do something to kind of to keep YouTube, because we're gonna wait another 4 years for my next documentary to come out.
Yeah, you gotta have fillers,
right? And I'm also working on I'm delivering pizza again, just so I can have some walking around money. And that's definitely going to dip into my Tuesdays. So
right. I know I miss Tuesdays.
Yeah, I do too. I do.
He said I finally figured out how to play the stupid game. I said, isn't that he's not doing it no more? Because usually I would just sit and watch, and then I finally, accidentally joined in, and I'm like, well, I got to play it now. I'm here.
Yeah, those are fun, and I will continue to do those fun things. I think it's just right now. One thing is, I'd really like to bring a different kind of production value to and I don't want to overthink it, but it would be cool to have a little bit more of a production value to the Into the Night thing. But I also still think I should remain true to the original idea, which was just basically having a radio show. That's how I treat that show. It's a radio show. You don't have to be watching it in order to enjoy it,
Right.
And Paranormal Monkey, Justin, the way he does things is very simple. I would say the guests that Paranormal Monkey has on are more along the lines of like what I would like to do. I'd like to find more people that we don't know and sit down with them and talk to them. And
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm sorry, Jimmie. I'm trying to figure out if it's me or you. Everybody says that your mic has gone scratchy.
Mine?
Yep.
Well, I know how to fix it. Now this is a different microphone, and it sounds much different. Not to you, Laura. Do you don't hear it?
I hear it.
Oh, you do hear the scratchiness?
Yep. When you talk, I hear it. Yep.
Is it gone now?
Nope.
Still there?
Yep.
Hmm.
Okay, he says it's a known thing with his mic. LOL.
It's my interface. Is it still doing it?
Yep.
All right, one more time.
Yes, I enjoy Justin's show too. It's really good.
How about now?
Perfect.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
My interface is something.
Oh, now it was perfect. Now you're cutting out and it's kind of muffled.
What the heck?
Oh, that was good.
Okay, that might just be StreamYard being weird. All right, we're good.
Yeah, it's all fixed. Okay.
Check. Okay, cool.
You're good.
There we go.
Because I was checking everything. Okay, and I was like, what the hell did I do now?
Everyone say scratchy to Jimmie.
Scratchy. Well, we can't say squeaky no more. So.
Yeah, right, yeah. Those days are over.
We're going to have to pick something else. So, yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah, we all got to kind of change it up a little bit. I've got some ideas rolling around in my head as well. And somebody told me I should do some reactions to some channels, but I don't know. I probably could.
Right.
But I don't know.
Yeah, it's worth, I mean, you do it and see how people respond to it. And if they respond to it positively, then do it again. If not, then figure something else, It doesn't hurt trying things, and YouTube encourages that to try things, and there isn't an original idea under the sun, So, I mean, you can, if you're taking ideas and running with them that you've come up with from watching somebody else do that, and it doesn't mean you're stealing or anything like that. You can be completely inspired by it,
Right. Well, a lot of people don't think of it that way, but that's,
Oh, yeah. Sweet Caroline's asked, am I going to interview Beardo now? I would interview Beardo anytime. If he wants to sit down with me and let me, because I did want to do it into the night with him. Our time zones are so different,
his schedule is so tight.
Yeah, it really depends on what he's willing to do. I would love to. I'd love to. I'd love to sit down and actually, because I have yet. He is one guy that I've not sat down and talked with that out of the whole community, other than Shape and Purple. Which Purple doesn't debunk anymore, but I would like to talk to him too. He's a really likable guy. Shape is one of those guys. I think that I don't know if he would be able to make time for it or not either. I understand that he's kind of
shy, because I've asked him a few times and I've asked Beardo to come on here. The last time I talked with Beardo, he said his schedule is so tight. So maybe into the new year, I might be able to get Beardo on here.
Right.
But the Shape, I think he's just too shy.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know much about the guy. I know what he really looks like. I know what his real name is.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do. But I don't, I've never spoke with him other than in chat. And when I see that he's in chat, I say, hey, how are you? And he says, hey, back. And that's the extent of it,
So we'll have to see. I mean, it all depends on who he's comfortable with. Let's see. Mike says, I seen the Shape agree to interview with Jimmie.
You did.
Really?
I did not see that. I had no
Well,
idea.
you might have reached out to him again. Yeah, I haven't reached out to him in a while. Because I know he gets really nervous.
Okay.
But,
Well, but maybe he watches and knows what I'm about to. I don't know. I don't know enough about the guy. I don't even know if he knows really what the hell I'm doing. If he's paying any attention to anything I'm doing at all, I don't know.
right.
He's very mysterious like that.
He's just, he stays back.
Yeah, you don't know what he's doing until it comes out.
Right. And I'm sure, he lurks on a lot of everybody's, programs and stuff. But I would love to have him on at some point. And I look forward to, Beardo as well, whenever he could fit me into his schedule. Because I know every time you turn around, he's got something going on.
Yeah. I would love to sit down with any of those people and just have a conversation with them. I'm not clout chasing. I'm not doing anything like that. And I think, not that this has even been brought up, but I have Mythos. I've got Seg. I've got Joe Vitale. I've got Matt. Right. I've got Kenny. I've got all these people in this last episode. I didn't at them. I didn't mention their name in the description. I didn't make a post and at them in the community page. I didn't. You know what I mean? Because that's not what I'm after. I really felt that those guys saying what I wanted to say without me having to say it would just be a powerful thing. I'm not trying to attach myself to anybody and use them to get clout or get people to come see me. It's not what I'm trying to do.
Oh, exactly. Well, same here. I just I want everybody to come on so we can pick their brains.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Just have a good time. Jeff says Shape said he'd go on with me. Well, maybe because I don't know. Maybe Shape just rather is more comfortable with the guys. Then I don't know. Maybe nobody likes me. I don't know.
I'm sure that's not it.
Now I'm hurt. Let's see. Shape is getting geared to go live. Oh, that'd be cool.
Right on. Yeah, that would be cool. I'd be popping in there.
He makes me laugh. Something terrible. I just laugh at everything he does.
Yeah, he's funny.
And the best one I remember was when he first came out with the nickname that he uses for Yasko. He calls him Yasko. I had coffee in my mouth. I spit it all over. Oh man! So I know not to drink anything when I'm watching a video. Jeff says, I have yet to find a big debunker that is an asshole.
That's good. I mean, I've heard people talk about that Cajun guy, but he's not really a debunker. He's just more of
he's a mouthpiece.
He's a disaster, a train wreck.
Yeah, I don't like him at all. Oh no, Jeff, I know that. I know how it is. All you guys just stick together. Yeah, we know how it works. But yeah. Oh, and the story with that other guy there that flipped out about Jake Hart's unfriending him. What was the craziness about?
That dude is clearly emotional. He's very insecure. I don't know. See, I had never heard of this guy. So the first video that I watched, because I watched Jeff's video on it, right? Or no, he didn't. I don't know if did he make a video on it? I just know that he was talking about it on the live and Jake Hart showed up. I was there at that live and Jake Hart was in the chat. And I was like, I wonder what this is that they're talking about. I think I don't remember how, but I went and watched Jeff's. I'm sure Jeff made a video about it. I went and watched that. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this guy's video. So I sat through the whole 20 minutes. And the things that were poking out to me was there was just certain things that he was doing and saying that clearly showed to me he has a lot of self-insecurity issues.
Definitely.
Me and my girlfriend, we've been doing this and this. It's like, no one, I'm, not to be rude, but listen, like, why do you keep bringing your girlfriend into it? Like,
Hi, Raven.
It's like he's letting us all know that he has a girlfriend, that some girl out there found him attractive enough to touch him on his pee-pee. It's like, good for you. Like I'm glad that that's happened for you. But yeah, it's really strange, right? And Jake Kartz, I've watched a couple of his videos, not all the way through. He's not really like my forte. He does a lot of the drama stuff, but
Right.
he didn't deserve all of that from that guy being that way. That dude just, I don't know. I think he's probably going through the ups and downs of being a small YouTube channel that's on the teeter. He feels like he's teetering because he's at over 1,000 subs, and you
There's
know,
nothing to complain about, man.
right.
I'd be
Right.
happy
Things
with
aren't
that.
working. And yeah, and then he's just looking for someone to blame. I've also learned that when people act like that, they're not really yelling at whoever they're yelling at. They're projecting. They're yelling at themselves. They're yelling at themselves.
Dragon said it was A1, and he
Mhm.
went off on Jay Kartz, unfollowed him, and didn't have a message as to why. Yeah, I don't understand. Who cares? Okay, the guy don't want to watch you anymore.
Yeah.
So move
It's dumb.
along. Where do you have like a meltdown over it?
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
Lord, I mean, like, I had like, so I had so many subs and I lost like 8 of them the other day. And then I was, I was upset, but I didn't get online and start
Right.
bitching about it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just all part of the game.
Yeah. It happens. Who cares? If like Jake Hart's is sub to me. I learned that. He subbed to me.
Oh, good.
Yeah, a long time ago, which is like, oh, that's cool. If he were to unsub, I mean, I would be like, I wonder why. I wouldn't make a video and be like calling him all these names and telling him how worthless he is. I'd probably just reach out to him and say, if I don't even know if I would do that, but if it was bothering me that much, I would reach out to him and say, hey, what happened? Was there something that but I don't
Right.
care. I don't care.
I don't know. I don't even know how to check to see who's whatever, but I know that there's a lot of them when I've been subbed to people and I'm not getting like the notifications. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And when I go and look and it says you need to subscribe, and I'm like, well, I was subscribed. I get booted out. And I know it's happened to a lot of people. So I mean, maybe Jake Hurst didn't even unfollow him. Maybe he just got booted and didn't know it.
Yeah, I don't. There's so many better things to worry about.
Sleeping. So what, you got to wait till the guy's awake before you can say something?
Yeah,
it's just really strange.
Just wait until I'm asleep to talk shit. It's like, what is it? It's gonna. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm glad I'm not in my early 20s and easily upset like that anymore.
I guess, yeah. Well, that's just a different breed. Who knows? These people take this stuff too seriously.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
I thought it was crazy. So, well, guys, thanks for all joining us. I really enjoyed it, Jimmie. I really, really enjoyed having you on.
Sure.
And talking about the documentaries. You really let us all know how you felt about it, how you put it together. We've enjoyed every step that you've went along the way to come out with just a fantastic product.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really, I will say when I set out to do it, I really wanted, one of the reasons why I hadn't done it before was that I didn't feel like I had anything to offer the paranormal community. As in, I wanted to be, if I was going to do something, I wanted it to have some sort of meaning. I didn't want it to just be another, cookie cutter thing. I wanted it to bring something to the table. Now,
right.
I can only hope that I have achieved that. I know that I have achieved as far as the message, putting it out there as coherently as possible, as legible as possible, and that's the best I could do. And the fact that while the thing wasn't even over, and you reached out to me and said, I have to talk to you about this, that means a lot, because clearly there was an emotional response there, and that means that I was doing. I feel like that means that my message is getting out there the way I hope.
Yeah, you accomplished what you were out to do.
Yeah.
Jeff says to hit him up if you want some paranormal nightmare intel.
All right, I will definitely do that, Jeff. I will.
Ooh, stirring the pot.
Mm.
Open the can, guys. You don't know what you're gonna get, but yeah, it's just we all just, our hats are off to you. You did a fantastic job. You've pretty much, for me, I can say it hit me right to the core, the story itself. Um, and it's definitely worth you sending that in, because that needs an award, because it is well worth it. Well worth the work you put into it.
Thank you.
And we're all here to support our Jimmie.
I
So
appreciate it very much.
we look forward to the next thing that you're going to do, and you are always welcome on here. You know that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I love coming on here. I do.
And
I appreciate you asking me.
I love having you on, and I'm sure everybody else does too. Everybody have a great evening, and just remember to always join us on the Raw side. Everybody have a great night.
Good night.